I want to thank Josh Allen, FCMAS, their squad for bringing to the table filming this. Why? Because our information and what we're doing can multiply in other cities and bless the rappers in other places. I'd love to see them form Rappers of the Round Table in their areas, and we could be a model for many others to follow. And what does that lead to? Just an army of Christian rappers and evangelists going out into the streets and really raising the banner for Christ. Chris, I've known for over 15 years, it seems like, probably.
Yeah, at least.
Just from Christian hip hop.
2002 we got.
Yeah, early days. A lot of special events from Nashville to Atlanta to New York. Like, I've seen him at multiple events, and I know that he hustles within Christian hip hop to get things done. The music changed his life from his story. He'll probably share that. And so that's why he's so sold on Christian hip hop. And so I see him as an ally in the gospel, regardless of if my music is played, regardless of if he does anything for me. What he's doing for our children by being the program director at Engine Radio is making a difference. And my desire is to see a better bridge built with Engine and the streets, and just getting them out there and working with them on that level. And so we're taking steps to do that. But I'm so thankful that he made time to come and share with us today. I told him that the guys are going to ask you questions, but feel free to open up with your testimony, your story, and anything you'd like to pour in before we get to our questions. So, Chris, thanks for being here, man.
And I just want to say I'm honored to be able to hang out with you guys today. I love being around rappers. I love being around artists. I feel at home with you guys. So thank you for letting me be here. And good job to a lot of you. A lot of you I haven't met before, but great job in the marketing, because I've seen your name. I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen you in the Rapzilla chats, and anytime you can get your name out there and get your name in front of fans and other artists, I think that's good. So a lot of you are already doing a great job. Justified has a lot of people requesting his music right now at Engine, and so you're making a buzz around Houston, and people are starting to wonder why you're not on the station. And Nicole has done a good job, and in Austin. And so, man, I want to see an avenue and a platform for each and every one of you. So hopefully today I'll be able to explain my world and how difficult it is to operate a radio station. But I'll just start way back. I started doing Christian rap. I started out as a rapper, just like many of you here. And I started doing Christian rap in 1992. I was 11 years old, and my pastor came up to me. He knew that I was rapping, and he said, if you write a rap song for God, I'll let you perform it in front of the church. Mm-hmm. And the promise to put me on stage was it. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I wrote that one Christian rap song. I was 11 years old in 92. I'm 38 now. I wrote a song called This Is For The Reals. And it was awful. And I rapped in front of nothing but old ladies and little old men, and they all looked at me like, well, what the heck is happening? But even with zero crowd reaction other than the looks they gave me, being on the stage was I got bit by that bug. I wanted to be three things in life. I wanted to either be a rapper, or I wanted to be a professional wrestler, or I wanted to be a DJ. And I tried really hard to do all three. I put many, many, many years in the rap game and the artist game, and I don't know when I quit, honestly. Like, people say, well, when did you stop being an artist? Well, I stopped being an artist when I got too busy to write songs and record songs. So God kind of transitioned me. And then you get old. It's like, oh crap, I guess I'm too old to be a rapper anymore. Wrestling didn't pan out for me, unfortunately. I'm not headlining WrestleMania like I thought I would. But yeah, so, man, after that first Christian rap song, I started doing secular rap, and that's who my influences were. I loved ever since 1993. When I heard Old Dirty Bastard rap for the first time, and Method Man, and Enter the 36 Chambers came out by Wu-Tang. I mean, that was my life. Wu-Tang was my life. I loved Wu-Tang. And I tried to be, I was such a little poser, Like I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And in New Mexico, like Albuquerque pretty much does everything that the West Coast does, right? So if it's popping in LA, then eventually it would make its way, even the gangs in LA all made their way to Albuquerque. So I just always wanted to be different, you know? So when everybody was rocking West Coast in Albuquerque, I was like, nah, I'm gonna go East Coast. I was rocking Timbs and just telling people I was from Brooklyn and just being you know, it was awful. And then secretly I'd listen to West Coast music too, even though I fronted to hate it. You know, I loved Warren G and I loved melodic rap. Anything with a hook, I was all about it. So that G-Funk era was just like my life too, behind the scenes. And that was really the kind of music I made. I was very who was the voice? Nate Dogg. I mean, I was very Nate Dogg-esque in my hooks, and I loved doing that. But it wasn't until high school when I was rapping at a talent show, and these other dudes got up on stage, and they I liked to think that I was the best, you know, like we all do. Like nobody's better than us, and I knew that my hooks were fire, and these guys went up there and slayed the game, like just put me to shame. And I was like, dang. So I started talking to them afterwards. We were sitting in the car, and I remember, and I started off rapping over secular beats. You know, you'd go scurry the bookstores and you'd try to find like secular instrumentals, and you'd write your music to that. And many of us still do that. Get on YouTube and rock an instrumental. This dude, I met David. He was my age in high school, and he already was producing music in his home studio. And he had drum machines, and like he was just dope. You know, they were like on a whole nother level, and they were Christian rappers. And I knew that I started out as a Christian rapper, you know, and I loved God. I still went to church, and that kind of changed my life. And he made a statement to me within the first couple of weeks of us hanging out. He said, I think you should listen to Christian music. And I knew of Christian music, you know, I knew who some of the Christian rappers were at the time. But I was like, man, I'm not going to listen to your cheesy Christian music. But I was competitive, and he knew that. So he said, I challenge you to listen to nothing but the Christian radio station for 7 days. He said to listen to it for 7 days, and I promise God will use that to change your life. And I was like, whatever. So I did. By day 2, day 3, I was getting into the music. I remember in 97 and 98, when I first started, you know, getting involved in the Christian radio station. I was taking my music to get played at the Christian radio station and found out they had a broadcasting school. And I went to broadcasting school at the age of 16 and started doing Christian radio. Started doing a Christian hip hop show Friday nights when I was just in high school. And so, man, I've just been rocking with Christian hip hop for the longest time because I took that challenge and it literally changed my life. And I never went back. Until my senior year in high school, even though I was a Christian rapper, I was working at the Christian radio station. I decided to start partying, and I started doing drugs and hanging out with the wrong people. And I was a very charismatic person. And one night, I was partaking in a certain drug, and I had some certain drugs on me that I wasn't really in the mood to take that night. So I rolled up to the drug dealer that was dealing the drug that I wanted to take that night, and I negotiated. I charmed and used my charisma to make a switcheroo. And that night changed everything because he took me under his wing, and I started selling drugs for him, and then I started selling drugs for myself. And I'm like a happy-go-lucky like person, you know, that loved God. All of a sudden, I was doing large amounts of drugs and being somebody I wasn't. I should have died many times, you know, in gun situations. You know, I've had sawed-off shotguns stuck down my throat and attacked by gangs, and just rolled with some hard dudes and dealt with a large amount of drugs. And I had to be somebody I wasn't, you know, because if you're going to live in that world, I don't know if any of you came from the drug world, but you have to have a certain facade if you're going to survive in that world. And it just wasn't me. I'm not a mean dude. I didn't like being mean. I didn't like being tough, but I had to if I wanted to survive. And I quickly realized that, man, this wasn't the life for me. And one night, I literally left it overnight. I stopped doing drugs. I stopped hanging out with that crowd, and luckily God pulled me from that. And luckily, like, I got right back involved in Christian radio, and I turned my life around. I never looked back. I never took drugs again, and never sold drugs again, and never affiliated myself with that. And God really began to use me in the world of Christian hip hop, and that was in '99. And by the time 2001 came around, I was doing an afternoon drive show, and I was the music director, picking the music for this Christian station, and still doing a hip hop show on the weekends. Also making music and touring through the Southwest. In 2002, I was approached by a station called KSBJ here in Houston, Texas, and they said that they wanted to start a hip hop and rock station, and they were going to put it on the FM dial. This is in 2002. They convinced me to move to Texas.